Hello and welcome back to Football Manager 2018 with FC Groningen. Now this episode is going to be the last episode of regular episodes. There'll be more, I'll explain probably later on in the episode. Today we are going to go through the end of season awards. They have come in. We're also going to do hopefully a quick-ish, maybe, I don't know, I've not planned it. We're going to do a rundown of the save overall. We are 5 seasons in with Groningen. Obviously, we are Eredivisie champions. It's taken 5 years to get there. And I want to just kind of go through a bit of the progress of how we managed to get to where we are today. So the first bit of news to go through is going to be the overall 11. And looking at that lineup, obviously they're playing the 4-2-4 formation. There's not a huge amount of players who have kind of broken in from this season. I mean, Sergio Pat is still the goalkeeper. Timon Larsson. Toivio is obviously there. He's had a very good season this year. Nabu has also had a very good year. Anoma and Bolhalder. Obviously, Anoma no longer with us. Bolhalder no longer with us. Dino Hotic is in there. Dogbol is in there. He's out on loan at FC Eupen in Belgium, I believe. Carniero and Taylor have done well. So it says this season, Sekou Karamoko, Carniero, Taylor, Bolhalder, Ramadan and Quinones managed to get themselves to become part of the history. But they're all on the bench. Quinones, Ramadan, Frydek, Green, Sekou Karamoko, Jean Dakenham and Edith Ibergrun. So pretty much all of them are on the bench. A couple of them have made their way into the starting 11. Fans Player of the Season goes to Sekou Karamoko, 76% of the votes. That is a huge amount of the votes. Carniero gets second, James Taylor gets third with just 9%. Goal of the season goes to Gianfranco Bolhalder, and I'm pretty sure I said that this was going to be goal of the season. Let's have a quick look. Corner comes in from Rezak, it's cleared, Karamoko heads down to Bolhalder, Paolo Di Canio-esque into the top corner, and it is goal of the season, Gianfranco Bolhalder. Signing of the season is Fabian Quinones, which, I guess he did the job, we did win the league. I wasn't too impressed with him. I wish we never actually sold our original goalkeeper, but we made do, we still won the league, we did the job. Young Player of the Year is going to be Sekou Karamoko, which is hardly surprising considering he got 76% of the Fans Player of the Season award vote. Team of the Year then, I think we can probably guess what most of this is going to be. Quinones in goal, Tosin, Toivio and Ramadan. Juninho Capijaba and Ainsley Maitland-Niles comes in as the right back. Bolhalder and Rezak, the midfield, Taylor, Carniero and Karamoko. It's basically our normal starting lineup, apart from Maitland-Niles and Nabu is probably the only question mark there. Season review. Few will have tipped FC Groningen to achieve more than a top half finish heading into the season, but Trots van het Noorden confounded every expectation by finishing top of the pile as unlikely champions. It was a season of unlikely yet jubilant success for Trots van het Noorden. That's probably not how it's said, but I'm sticking with it. Who consistently defined the odds from the outset and were eventually crowned champions thanks to Willem II beating Ajax. Europa League, we got to the quarter-final, losing out to Leverkusen, which was pretty one-sided affair in that one. Obviously winning the Eredivisie, as just mentioned. Dutch Cup losing in the final against PSV on penalties, which you saw in the last episode. Match of the season was the 3-1 victory, 3-0 victory, which the Gianfranco Bolhalder goal of the season was scored in. And the moment to forget was a 3-1 defeat against Feyenoord. I'd say the moment to forget was probably the PSV game in the last episode, or maybe the Vitesse game in the episode before that. Squad dynamics doesn't really matter too much. Our team leaders and highly influential players and all that jazz, they've been moving around a lot. Considering we've got Toivio, Ibergrun and Carniero as team leaders, 2 of the 3 will be leaving, and the third one is 34 years old and might retire at the end of the year. So Toivio is the only one who's going to stay. Nabu and Karamoko, highly influential players. We've got quite a decent spread of influential players, but they really need to step up if and when Ibergrun, Carniero and Toivio all leave the club. Plans for next season, we're going to do it again? Okay, they agreed we can do it again, although this happens every single time and I don't know why. End of season review. To summarise, the board feel that you are doing an unbelievable job and are clearly putting a smile on the faces of every single supporter. Long may it last, thanks. So basically, I'm not getting sacked anytime soon by Bert Middle. Highlight is obviously winning the league. Major criticism is getting battered by Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League. I'd take that. Competition's great. Club finances is great. Everything else is pretty decent. Club philosophies is fairly low, but I don't think we have any. I'm going to go forward now a number of weeks, days, however many, whatever we need to do. Basically, because we want to get to the end of year awards for the league, because I have a sneaking suspicion that we might be winning Eredivisie Young Player of the Year, because 5 of our players were nominated out of 5. We're not quite at the awards that I was expecting, but we do have a number of personal awards, I guess you'd call them. Sekou Karamoko's 47 goals for FC Groningen is a new record, surpassing Marco Rusmir, who got 26 just 2 seasons ago. So Sekou Karamoko, he's pretty much double Marco Rusmir. Gonzalo Carneiro also manages to get 31 assists, which is pretty much double of David Aguinaga's of 17 from 2 years ago. And Karamoko once again doubles Marco Rusmir's 8 Man of the Match awards to make it 15. It's not exactly double, but obviously he's got 15 Man of the Match awards this season, which is a ridiculous amount. Fabian Quinones has surpassed Christian Lassu's clean sheet record by 1. Just 1 clean sheet on 13, but maybe that's why they saw him as a good player. I really didn't. And Frank Dogbol got 3rd place goal of the week. Also, Frank Dogbol has won the Belgian Ebony Boot. I don't really know what that is, but for playing for FC Eupen, or Eupen, KS Eupen, that's the one, he's managed to win some form of award. We're on the 15th of May and the commercial summary has come through. We have managed to sign a new individual TV deal worth £13.25 million as opposed to £5.25 for the last deal that we had. So that is a huge, huge chunk of money there. That is partly because obviously we won the league, but also because the Dutch league is slowly climbing the ranks of the league ranking system. Sure. Top shirt sellers were Karamoko and Carneiro get 1 and 2. Taylor Ibergurn and Ainsley Maitland-Niles is in 5th place. Edis Ibergurn's a confusing one, but sure. A little bit of Europa League news. I know we've been knocked out of it. We didn't get to the final, but Torino managed to beat Juventus in the final. I'm not sure what the score was, but they end up winning. So that's a bit of a shock. Interestingly, top assist goes to Gonzalo Carneiro with 13 goals. Carneiro also gets the highest average rating of an 8.04, so I'd say it's a relatively successful tournament. Also, Gonzalo Carneiro's average rating is 0.2 higher than Harry Kane's previous record, and his most assists is 3 more assists higher than Juan Mata's from 2018. Gonzalo Carneiro has written himself into Europa League history. Also, Europa League Team of the Season, Quinones, Toivio, Maitland-Niles and Carneiro all managed to get their names in there. Not a single Juventus player in there, despite the fact that they made it to the final. 3 Torino players, 4 Villarreal players. Basically, it seems like 3 teams did really well in this competition. It is 2022 and therefore it is a World Cup year and the squads have been announced. Basically, the World Cup is normally supposed to be in Qatar. In real life, that's where it's currently maybe taking place. In the game, I'm not sure where it is taking place, but we've got 2 players in the World Cup, and that is James Taylor and Gonzalo Carneiro. So Scotland and Uruguay both qualifying. Interestingly, Carneiro only has 6 caps for Uruguay, so for some reason him getting called up to the World Cup squad, that seems a bit of a shock to me, but after the season he's had, I'm not surprised. It looks like the Player of the Year awards are starting to roll in. First up, the Dutch Goalkeeper of the Year goes to Nick Marsman, annoyingly of Willem II. Quinones does get 2nd place. He was off by 1 point. Marsman gets 51 voting points. Quinones gets 50. 2nd place for Fabian Quinones. A couple of days after Quinones gets his 2nd place medal for Goalkeeper of the Season, the rest of the awards seem to be turning up. So, record high for Groningen, finishing obviously 1st in the league, is the new record high for us. Makes sense. Karamoko's average rating of 8.06 is the highest. Omar Niasse previously had the highest on a 7.70. Karamoko as well also smashes Ricky van Wolfswinkel's record of most goals in a season with 31 goals. Which obviously means he gets himself the Golden Boot Award. In 2nd place is Omar Niasse with 30 goals. He gets 4 assists as well. Karamoko, 11 assists along with his 31 goals. Carneiro in 3rd place with 20 goals and 15 assists. I'm not sure why this is a separate award, because it's the same award. I don't know. Oh, Golden Boot is Best Player. Okay, right, Golden Boot is Best Player. Karamoko gets Golden Boot, he also wins Top Goalscorer Award. Fine, I understand now. Shock, horror, what a surprise. A Groningen player has won Dutch Young Player of the Year. It is James Taylor with the winning points with 50. Second place was Gianfranco Ballhalder with 49. Fabian Quinones in third with 38 points. Who'd have thought, eh? And I managed to win a Manager of the Year, which I'm not surprised with. I won the league with the team that should have finished mid-table, apparently. And another award for one of our players, Keys de Kock, has finished second as Young Player of the Year for the Jupiler League. Paulo Dybala is Europe's top marksman. However, third place is a little Groningen striker called Sekou Karamoko. I think he scored more goals, but because of Euro coefficients and all that jazz, it means he actually works out as worse than Dybala and Werner. But still, third top goal scorer in all of Europe through the weird points scoring system. I'll take that. A few more days have passed and the European club rankings have now been announced, and we have moved up to 45th in the European club rankings, which means we are in the top 50 in terms of Dutch teams. I think it's going to only be Ajax that are ahead of us on 36, and it's basically because we've had a really good run in the Europa League. I think that's what's done it. Welcome back. It is the first day of pre-season for the next year, so what better time to go and reflect on the previous 5 years and see where we've come, who we've bought, who we've sold, how we've progressed as a club. First of all, then, let's take a look at the seasons and the league positions. First season, we end up finishing 5th place. It was only 3 points off of second place, which was held by PSV. If we got those 3 points, we would have actually finished second as well, because we had a superior goal difference to PSV. Unfortunately, we only finished 5th, which I think did qualify us for Europe, but it wasn't a terrible season, because I think we were predicted to finish about 7th or 8th. Into the second season, and we managed to pull off something pretty spectacular, almost winning the league. We end up finishing second place, just 2 points behind Ajax. I say almost winning the league. It was a lot down to Ajax not picking up as many points as they perhaps should have done. 12 draws for them. We got 10 draws. It was a really good season. That I thought was going to be our highest point. A season later, we finished in third place, although we did pick up pretty much the same amount of points. We got 67 the year before, 62 that year. But Feyenoord and Ajax that season were just something to behold. They were absolutely ridiculous. There was no way we were going to catch them. Which was then followed by a season to forget, where we end up finishing 8th place. And it was all down to, I think, a second half season performance where we just fell apart completely. So if we do first half of the season, we were actually the third best team in the league, just 4 points behind Ajax. And then you go second half of the season, we were way down there. What's that, 15th maybe? So that's clearly where our problem came. We got 9 defeats in 17 games in the second half of the season. Luckily, somehow, we did qualify for Europe, because the Dutch league is weird when it comes to qualifying for Europe. And that then led us into the last season that we have just played. Champions of the Eredivisie, Dutch Cup finalists, Europa League quarter-finalists. All in all, it was a successful year. 75 points is what we got, which, going back, would have only won us the title for 2 of the previous 4 years. So we got a bit lucky. We got a bit lucky that Ajax lost a lot of games. Heerenveen lost a lot of games. PSV drew a lot of games. But we are champions nonetheless. Let's take a look at some of the records then. And most goals in a season. Lars Veldwijk was our top scorer in the first year, who I think might still be playing. He is. He's at Willem II. He's 30 years old now. He got us 19 goals across the entire year, which was a decent return for the striker. A year later, Tom van Weert gets 16 goals. He's now currently playing for Panathinaikos. He played a total of 100 games for us in total. He's not a terrible footballer. I quite like Tom van Weert. The 2019-2020 season saw Edis Ibergön pick up 23 goals. He's still currently at the club for 3 more days. He's going to be here for 3 more days, and then he's going to be off out the door. He's getting paid a lot of money, and he's not very good compared to some of the other strikers now. The traitor Marco Rusmir was our top scorer in the 2020-2021 season, obviously now playing for Bayer Leverkusen, getting 26 goals for us in one season. We got a fair old chunk of money for him. We got 6 million. I thought we got more than that, although I think we do have a 50% sell-on. So Marco Rusmir is in our history books, although he also helped to knock us out of the Europa League. And finally, a record-breaking season for Sekou Karamoko this year. 47 goals across the competition. He's an absolute filthy player. He was the African Player of the Year for 2021, because they do the Player of the Year for calendar year, not seasons. It's weird, I don't understand. So yeah, he won African Player of the Year. He's also African Cup of Nations winner as well. So Sekou Karamoko is probably one of my favourite players this save. Most assists, we'll do a quick rundown. Dino Hotic in the first season got himself 12. Dogbowl got 10 in the 2018-2019 season. Ibagern gets 12 in the 1920 season. Aguanaga, who is currently out on loan in Italy, playing for Genoa, I think, gets 17 in the 2021 season. And Gonzalo Carneiro smashes all the records, getting 31 assists this year. For clean sheets, Sergio Pat is obviously going to get a clean sweep for the first few years, getting 8, 10 and 7 in the first 3 seasons. Then in came Christian Lassou getting 12. This season, Fabian Quinones getting 13. Highest average ratings, Mimoun Mahi getting 7.3 in the first season. Frydek, who is currently, I think he's still at Chelsea, getting 7.45 in the second season. Ibagern, 7.43. Marco Rusmir, a 7.30, which is quite low, although he did play 48 games. Sekou Karamoko, just scraping under an 8 on a 7.97. Man of the Match awards, Tom van Weert gets 5. I mean, some of these numbers look really low now. Ibagern gets 7 in the second season, gets 6 in the third season. Rusmir gets 8 in the fourth season, and Sekou Karamoko once again smashes all the records, gets 15 in the last season. This is nothing to be proud of, but worst discipline. Kasper Larsen with 11 yellow cards in the first season. Django Warmadan only got 7 in the second season. Nicolas Freire with 12 yellow cards. Nabiu gets 12 in the fourth season. And Pavel Rezak, 11 yellow cards and 2 red cards. He's the only player to ever get sent off, apparently, for FC Groningen. Youngest player. Now, this is quite interesting. So, first season is Tapmaho Sapako. He's not here anymore. James Taylor gets it in the second season. So, he's been here for 4 whole years now, James Taylor has. Christian Lassou, the goalkeeper, gets the youngest player in the third season. Roshan Regales gets the youngest player in the fourth and fifth season. He played once in both seasons, both against Willem II. Oldest player goes to Sergio Pat in the first season, but then the second, third, fourth and fifth season is Juna Toivio, because we don't have anyone older than Juna Toivio. He is 34 years old, and I'm sure he's still going to be playing for another year at least. Youngest goal scorer, Michael Croissants, James Taylor, Vodrazka and Yuri Boas all pick it up over the 5 years. Oldest goal scorer, much like oldest player, it's Juna Toivio pretty much every season apart from the first one, which is Tom van Weert. Fans Player of the Year for the first season was Mimoun Mahi, who unfortunately we had to sell because he didn't want to play for us anymore, but he was our first Fans Player of the Year. Christian Frydek was our second season Fans Player of the Year. He's signed for Chelsea. He's played 3 games for him, constantly being sent out on loan. Does his contract expire soon? It doesn't. Okay, I was going to try and sign him. But Christian Frydek, second season's Fans Player of the Year. Idris Ibagern gets the third season Fans Player of the Year award. Had a great season when it comes to goal scoring, although now, as you can see, he is declining. In the fourth season, it was Judas himself, Marco Rusmir, getting Fans Player of the Year thanks to his however many goals he scored. And this season, it is, of course, none other than the Ivorian Sekou Karamoko getting Fans Player of the Year. I'm not going to go into massive detail when it comes to transfers. I just want to have a quick skim through. So in the first season, we spent £2 million, most of it on Gregor Breinberg, who wasn't a bad signing. He was just a little bit expensive. Hotic as well, 600k. He was a very good signing for the money we paid. Michael Croissant was an important loan signing who came in at the end of January. He did a very good job between January and the end of the season. Into the second season, and this is where the money started coming in. Mimoun Mahi gets sold, Ruben Jensen gets sold, and Jasper Drost also gets sold, picking us up £10.5 million, which meant it could get reinvested in some of the names that we see pretty frequently now. Sekou Karamoko from Africa Sports, Constant Abiu from CFDFA, Juna Toivio joined as well, Jean Dakenham joined. He was a little bit questionable. Idris Ibagern joined as well. Frydek, Julian Green, Frank Dogbowl, Ezekiel Insane. The less we say about him, the better. And there down the bottom you see, joining from Hibernian, James Taylor, the Scottish wizard, joining for £1.8 million, which was almost beating our record transfer, which unfortunately was Ezekiel Insane. Shows I was concerned when I signed him that he wasn't going to be good enough. Now that he's here, now that he's done the business for the last few years, he's certainly shown that he is. Third season, and there wasn't a huge amount of money spent this year, but there was a lot of action that took place. Django Warmadan and Gregor Breinberg, 2 players to leave. Mike Tawairek, another one to leave for a bit of money, getting £4.2 million in. Some of the big names that we signed: Nicolas Freire, we only had him for a year, I believe, but he was a decent signing. Julian Green signed on a permanent after being on loan for a couple of seasons. David Aguinaga signed from Manta, not played this season, been out on loan. Gianfranco Ballhauder for £1 million, who became... I don't think he is a club legend, but he should be a club legend. Signed for £1 million. Brilliant signing. Christian Lasso, 300k. Wasn't here for very long, but once again made us a hell of a lot of money. Marco Rusmir, 800k. Made us a lot of money. Kurt Bravo, we bought him and then sold him to Porto. I don't know why Porto wanted him. He wasn't very good. Amadou Keita, another player, came in for 14.25k, who went on for bigger and better things, playing for Schalke now. Into the fourth season, and there were a lot of players to leave the club, some for very big numbers. Jean Dakenham moved to Feyenoord for £2.2 million. Lars Veldwijk also left. Tronson left. Sacco left. Sefer left. Didn't really play him. Joel van Knife left. Insane left for a lot less money than what we paid for him. Nicolas Freire went to Feyenoord for £6.25 million as well. As I mentioned, Kurt Bravo, he moved on to Porto for £1.5 million. Jonas Meffert left. Sergio Pat left. Lots of big names out. But we also got some big names in. Alberto Seri came in, although he wasn't as good as he should have been. Radek Vodrazga, who had a decent year, loaned him out. Carlos Diaz, the Peruvian, signed. Pavel Rezak signed. Ilar Popovsky signed, another player who we end up keep loaning out. Carniero joined his first season on loan at this point. Isaac Becerra, who was a great keeper for £1 million. Raitan, who we haven't really seen much of. Youssef Ramadan, who's just signed a new contract, who is considered a wonder kid, and I signed his new contract because he only had a £10 million minimum fee release, so he's not going anywhere. Omar Nemdil, another player, really good young player. Damasceno, great young player as well. Pablo Recio, another really good young player. We bought a hell of a lot of decent youth players last season, so the club, I think, is in a really good position because a lot of these players are still here. Not many of them have left, and some of them have actually developed. And last season, there were some quite important signings coming in. Maitland-Niles, Capixaba, Quinones, Tosin, to name a few. Yuri Boas as well. Felix Noriega also played a hell of a lot of games. Alves joined in January. Brian Sonko joined in January as well. He got quite a few games. Sif Hui Maboya finally managed to score a goal near the end of the season. And our record transfer, which I only just found out a minute ago, is Asen Zdravkov at £2 million. This will be smashed imminently because I'm buying someone for nearly £10 million. Last season was also a season where we ended up picking up a hell of a lot of money from players being sold. Christian Lasso going off to Everton, Rusmir going off to Leverkusen, Keita going to Schalke, Bakuna going to Hamburg. Some of these players went for huge sums of money. Seri went to Feyenoord, Julian Green to Celtic, and then the big one down the bottom, Gianfranco Ballhauder, playing for Dortmund. Let's have a look at Gianfranco, shall we? Got 12 games in the end. He's played 11 games for Switzerland, so once he plays 10 in total whilst at Dortmund, we will pick up a lot more money from him. Did he win the Bundesliga? I don't think he did. They finished 5th. When he joined, they were top. No, they did. They did win the league. There you go. They won the league. He won the league on his first season, so he has a Bundesliga title as well to his name. That is going to be a very, very long episode, and thanks if you did sit through the whole thing. Well done. It's probably very difficult for you because there's a lot of talking, not a lot of stuff happening. What I'm going to do now with the Groningen save, in terms of a full YouTube series, I am going to end it now, as I've mentioned before. But what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to try and summarise a season into maybe 2 or 3 episodes. And they'll probably come out on weekends or around weekends. I'm not guaranteeing what weekends. It's not going to be every weekend for sure. But what it'll be is I'll do an episode at the start of the season. I'll do one in the middle of the season. And I'll do one at the end of the season to kind of just show you how we're progressing. Because I'm enjoying this save, and I don't really have enough time to keep it going as a YouTube save, as well as doing the other YouTube saves that I do. And I want to do a different YouTube save because I feel like we've taken Groningen a fair distance. I can probably take them further. If it gets to a point another 5 years down the line, I think, you know what, we can bring this back. I might do that as well. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Football Manager 2018 with FC Groningen. If you did enjoy, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the new series that I'm currently planning at the moment. I don't know when it's going to come out, and I hope you enjoy.